Well, now I got to think about this for a while, you know. He got to scratching his chin. He was a good-natured man. So he said, now what do you do? I said, well, I had two little spoons in my pocket, so I took them out so I can play these.
There's the start.
And he said, what's that? I said, these spoons.
Yeah.
And then I reached back in this pocket and I brought out my shine cloth and I said, I can pop this.
All right.
So, and what's that? I said, it's my shine cloth. And what you gonna do with the shine cloth? I just unrolled it, pulled it out, and I began pumping. He said, what? Wait a minute. So from then on, he just took me on, and he said, now, you say your mother's in Chicago? And so about that time, Ma Rainey spoke up. She said, I'm going to write to his mother. So meanwhile, I said, if you want to, Mr. Collier, said, if you leave him in my care, I said, we'll just take care of him, and if you're going to hire him, put him on the show. I got hired that day.
Ma Rainey was taking over on you.
She did. That was my mom away from my mom.
What a piece. That must have been a pure education right there.
So from then on, it was just all adventure to me. I was enjoying it because all the people around me were just like a large, huge family. Everybody cared.
Ah.
And where I was concerned, they really cared.
Yeah, right.
Because they all took me under their wings. They didn't never let me go wrong. Wouldn't let me smoke.
Yeah.
None of this.
None of that stuff.
And then Ma Rainey said, well, now, I got to show you something else besides you popping them cloths and playing them spoons. She said, you're going to learn how to tap dance. I said, well, I can already do that. She said, just a minute, young man. You ain't been doing no dancing around here. I said, well, today is the day.
Tap dance, here we come.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So she said, well, now. She said, I'll be right back. So she went out of the tent, behind the tent. When she came back, she had two switches in her hand, about there long. She said, now, if you can tap dance, I'm going to see. If you lied, you going to see.
I see.
That's what she told me. She said, if you can tap dance, I'm going to see. But if you can't tap dance, you going to see. So, and she showed me them two switches. So she put me up on the stage, and she said, all right. And this is just what she said. Da, 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 da. And I got to kick it.
Right there.
I got to kick it. And I did. I kicked pretty good. So she said, now this is amazing. This is amazing. But when I knew anything, I had the whole troupe. And there was about 10 men in the band. There was 8 chorus girls. We had 2 comedians. Then there was Ma Rainey doing her specialty. Of her own arrangements, and the band had all the material, the music and stuff. And then we had this lady, what we call a soubrette. Now, yeah, now the soubrette is a woman that fits anywhere in the show. She can do any parts in the show. She could feed the comedians their lines.
Oh, I see.
Mm-hmm. She could even take the place of one of the chorus girls. She could tag the choruses. So she was called a soubrette. And she could sing.
She could fit in any place.
Anywhere you needed something or somebody as the second person or third person, she fitted.
Oh, boy.
So we had a troupe of something like between 15, maybe 22 people.
Hmm.
And we were doing nothing but vaudeville because there was no rides, no midways.
Oh, I see. Now
We were doing strictly vaudeville.
Mhm.
Strictly
That was the
vaudeville.
whole show right there.
That was the whole show.
Yeah.
And but our engagements lasted 1 to 4 days of each week anywhere we went because we were playing fair dates
Oh, I see.
for all the small town, and it was a train show. This show traveled on its own train.
Oh.
Mr. Collier, all these cars set up where you had your sleeping berth, you got 3 meals each day, irregardless to whether you were performing or not.
All right.
You
Yeah.
had 3 hot meals a day.
Yeah.
On location, you had 3 hot meals.
Mhm.
Plus, you made your ballets, which came up to be anywhere from 22 to 26 ballets. That's free shows outside the tent.
Oh,
That's to draw the crowd.
I see.
But you did 34 to 39 shows inside.
Yeah, you guys are putting out some real energy. Did Ma Rainey ever say to you, all right, everybody up on their tippy toes?
That's where I got it from. That's where I got it from.
I loved you when you said that to me one
That's
day.
right.
He says, okay, everybody up on
Rise
their
and
tippy
shine,
toes.
and everybody on their tippy toes.
Yeah, that was it. Rise and shine. And everybody up on their...
So
Oh, that's
it passed on like that and until Ma died. Well, Bessie was under her tutorage at all this time that she was bringing me up.
Bessie Smith?
Yes,
Holy smokes.
because Bessie had already joined the show, but she was a bit shy because I don't know, it was I don't know, she didn't know how to pronounce her words too distinctly,
Uh-huh.
and she had a hang-up about that.
Ah,
She had an inferiority complex by not knowing how to pronounce words. And if she said these, she said these.
oh, I
And if
see.
she said that, she said that.
And they were trying to clear that
Mhm.
up. Oh, I see.
And Gertrude Myrain had her under tutorage, trying to correct this
Speech.
the speech thing, and she did.
Uh-huh.
She did. So it passed on like that, and we began doing these shows all down through the Southland, and it was seasonal work. We opened every April the 3rd. We closed every November the 11th. And you, as a performer or a musician, you had options. You could either pick up your salary and come home, or you could pick up your salary and you had a berth or a bed in a hotel right there in winter quarters.
Oh, they treated you guys great. That's
And the winter
good.
quarters, as a rule, winter quarters was in Brunswick, Georgia for the Silent Screen show.
So that's green.
No matter where we were, every November the 11th, that night at 12 o'clock, everything was torn down, put on the flat cars, and inside the box cars, all the performers, if you weren't going any further, you'd go to the bus station. They had a bus there to take you down to the bus station or the train station. You could purchase your ticket and come home, or you could just get back on the train in your berth and go back to winter quarters.
I'll be doggone.
And in that case, these were your options. And each year, when those shows begin to open, you would have your ticket come to you in your mailbox if you intended to come back to the show.
Right then and there.
Mhm.
How many seasons did you stay on that?
With Silent Screen, I was with him 3 seasons. Then I got a better offer from F.S. Walcott's Rabbitfoot Minstrels out of Port Gibson, Mississippi. Because they had booked me, they had billed me as Mickey Martin, the world's tiniest tap dancer.
The greatest. The greatest.
And that worked. It worked like an 8-day clock. That was a gimmick that they used that worked.
The tiniest tap dancer. Uh-huh. And that-
They wanted to know how tiny.
Yeah.
See, so when they presented me as a kid, there I am.
Yeah, right. That worked.
And Mom was so strict. Marraine was awfully strict. She didn't want none of the girls to touch me.
Oh. She was keeping an eye out.
And she would send my pay home to my mom, and she'd bring the receipt to me.
Oh, that's great. That's,
So
you did it.
yeah,
You
it was
really
it was
did it.
all beautiful. So I was with Silent Screen 3 seasons. I was with F.S. Walcott Rapid Minstrels, 2 seasons. Then I was with Wednesday's Mighty Minstrels, 2 seasons. This was coming up out of 33 to 51.
Mhm.
The year of the World's Fair in Chicago, which we call the Century of Progress.
Century of Progress.
Yeah, the first year was 1933.
33. Oh. Was that, well, was that when the piano came into it and later on in the,
Well, no, all this other stuff, it came whilst I was out there.
it all just grew?
It just,
Oh,
it
that's
just
great.
grew into me because I had the time during the days, when we weren't doing anything, I just go in the tent, in the auditorium tent, and they had the piano sitting on it like a pit.
Oh,
like
yeah.
You used to play then.
Right.
Well, I just
Sure.
go and just sit down on the piano, and
Yeah.
I dink around on the piano. And then I had permission from William St. Clair. He was our guitarist,
Oh,
and he had a practice box. And I asked him if I could use it, that I would take care of it. And he said, now if you don't, now you're going to get a whipping. I said, I'm aware of that. So he let me have it. He tuned it for me first.
oh, that's
He
terrific.
tuned it for me, then he gave it to me.
Ah.
And I used to sit down and I'd picking the string, and I would hum a tune, and I'd try to find that tune in the frets.
All right.
So
So
he
you could
caught me doing that.
Learning to sing and play at the same time. Right.
He caught me doing that. He said,
Yeah.
now, what key are you in? I told him, I don't know. He said, well, strike a chord. I said, I can't. I said, I can only strike the one string. He said, well, let me show you how to do that. So he showed me how to fret the key of F on the guitar, the left key.
Yeah.
He said, now you keep striking that till you learn how to learn you a tune.
Is that right? All right.
So that's the way I learned that. But I wanted a guitar long before that, and I asked my mother for one. And I knew she couldn't give me a guitar because mother was too busy trying to feed 14 of us and keep us all in the house,
Yeah.
So I later on got a chance to tell her, Mom, that's all right. I said, I didn't mean to ask you for no guitar. I said, because, wow. I said, girl, whoa, never mind. I said, one day, sooner or later, I'll get one. So mother said, well, now, what would you do with a starvation box boy? See, that's what they used to call them in the old days.
A starvation.
Starvation box.
Yeah. Why would they do that?
Well, it was an instrument that no one seemed to have done anything with down through the South.
Oh, I see.
Coming out the coming out the cotton fields and the
Mhm.
corn fields and the cane fields.
Yeah.
Nobody seemed to do well with the guitar.
Still hadn't hit.
Mm-mm. Nobody had no knowledge of how to put the fingers in the frets on the different strings, or to make changes. All they would do, they just sit there and strike it openly.
Oh.
And then they would add the tones with their mouths, their voices. But nobody knew how to just play a box. So it got down to that, so I said, well, hey, I'm going to learn how to make some changes.
Yeah.
And that's the way I began to doing it. It's the same thing I did, same technique I used on the piano. After I learned how to put my fingers in the keyboard, followed by a bass line going to the chord I had in the right hand, then I would hum that tune
Oh, I see.
and let it reach my ear. Once it reached my ear, then my eyes would automatically, visually, tell me where my fingers go. So that's how I taught myself that.
Well, you play guitar and drums. You play drums besides piano and greatest singing, the greatest blues singing, the greatest singer, period. You're working in a club that's just opened up.
Oh, yes.
What's the name of that club?
That's called the Mulatto Club.
Mulatto
The
Club.
Mulatto.
Yeah.
Mulatto.
Yeah, and you're working out there with a trio out
Yeah,
there?
with the trio. It's called Bruce Lawrence Trio.
Bruce Lawrence Trio.
Yeah, he plays bass himself.
And
He's
where's
with-
this club located at?
This is at 6901 Martin Luther King Way South.
Martin
Martin
Luther
Luther
King Way
Way.
South. Okay, got that. So now, you're playing drums, piano, guitar, you sing, and you're the smoothest tap dancer I've ever seen in my entire life. That's for sure. And
Spoons.
and spoons. And you've been doing this all your life, so what an honor to have you on this show.
Well, I figured out, I said, well, now, I got the best friend in the world heading that show. I better go down there and talk with him because, when I got to this city, this was my little brother. I called him my little brother because the man fed me my first sandwich when I came to Seattle. And I said, from that day to this one, that's one man that'll always stay in my heart.
Yeah, that's right.
And I have deemed you my little brother. My family knows about you. That is the rest of my family. My sisters in Chicago knows of you. I've sent them your picture. They know you because they ask about you every time I get a letter. And then I've been trying to keep up with you myself, and I just recently found you. You've been gone. I didn't know you were gone.
Yeah.
And then you finally came home, and then you left again, and I thought you were gone, but you weren't. You were just over on stretch.
Yeah.
So I said, once I find him, I'll keep up with him this time.
With this show, now we can get together, you see.
Yeah, well, there it is.
This is a great...
So it's just been a privilege, Ronnie, to just not only to know you, but to be associated with you, to know that I am as close to you as I am, and I have already deemed you the closest friend I've got out here.
Yeah. Well, we played some great gigs together.
Yes, we worked
did.
together.
When I was on your band and working on your band,
That's right.
I've got some great tapes that you're going to hear. These we did 2 years, 2.5 years out there.
Yeah, we were out there 2.5 years.
Yeah, and
It's true.
so I've got all these tapes. I'm trying to get them together, put them all together in a collection, and this is a gift to you. I'm trying to do that. See?
Ronnie, you don't have to do that. I got some of the same tapes.
Oh, you do? Well,
yes, I have. See, because Timmy, our own little
sound man
out there, Timmy used to record everything we played when I opened at Crawfish Alley.
Oh, that's right, when you're at Crawfish Alley. Right.
And that's long before I got to Laverno's.
Yeah. And he was taping for you.
He was taping for me then.
Oh.
In fact, I had to run Timmy home a couple of times because Timmy had went to the hospital and had an operation, and I didn't want him out of the house. Timmy got out of that place and came down to that club, made me so mad. I told him, I said, you set this thing up and carry your behind home. I said, don't you come out no more.
Yeah.
So I got angry with him. And Timmy was hurting. I could see the pain in his eyes. I said, oh, Timmy, what are you doing here? He just had come out of the hospital and have an operation. I sent him back home. And still paid him his salary.
Oh, there you go. See.
And still paid him his salary. Yes, I did. I did that.
So he's coming up with all these tapes I thought I had, and you got.
I already got them. In fact, I got some you don't even got.
I believe it. I got a real good question. Being a clarinet player, you played with this great clarinet player with Benny Goodman and all these people who sort of really was into, and that was Jimmy Noon.
Jimmy Noon, yeah, that was my first big band, yes.
And he had a big band, and you went out on the road on drums. Oh boy, and what kind of fella was he?
Jimmy was one of the sweetest men you'll ever know. See, I never knew the love of a father.
Ah, that's right.
Well, Jimmy to me was like my dad in a lot of respects. Because when he sat me on those drums, he said, I want you to hold me, the steadiest beat you can find on them drums.
No.
He said, don't you vary from it.
There's a man, yeah. You were swinging, right?
So I said, well, I got to learn to use this hi-hat. He said, well, off and on, in between strokes. That's all he showed me. And that's
in between strokes. You were cooking on the 2 and the 4.
2 and the 4.
Contagious. Right?
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
And Jimmy played clarinet. He played alto and flute.
Ah.
And piccolo.
Ooh. Yeah, he was an all-around guy.
Hmm.
Fantastic player.
He stood like about 6'7". He weighed about 225 pounds.
He was that big a guy. Wow, that's a huge man.
And he had a 16-piece dance band.
Jimmy Noon.
Jimmy Noon. A wonderful man. And he had this one club that he was the house band in there in Chicago at 49th and Wabash. It was called Bacon's Casino.
What town was this?
This in Chicago.
In Chicago.
Hmm. It was called Bacon's Casino. And it was at 49th and Wabash, diagonally across the street from Jean-Baptiste du Sable High School.
Ah.
And, well, which is now something else now. I think it's the Butchers, Chauffeurs, and Waitresses Union now, today. Or at least it was last time I was home.
Yeah.
But anyway, at that time, it was one of the most lucrative black clubs on the south side of Chicago, besides Charlie Glenn's and Joe Lewis's Rum Boogie. Oscar DePriest's Cafe de Society. Just to name a few.
Yeah.
Of course, the main club was Club DeLisa. Mike DeLisa was the owner and proprietor of that club. But they didn't work anything but black acts. And during this was the heyday of live shows in all of the cities. At this point in time, the road show era, the TOBA times, was being slowly erased,
Oh.
phasing it out.
The trains and things like that. I see. Yeah.
Was begin phasing them out. Because now I recall the last show that I was on, I went back to Port Gibson, Mississippi to rejoin F.S. Walcott's Rabbitfoot's Minstrels. That was its winter quarters in Port Gibson, Mississippi. And this was in 51.
Oh, boy.
Well, we did that season from the 3rd of April to November the 11th. And then Colonel Walcott come and told us that, well, guys, gals, I want to thank you for a beautiful season. He said, I know you've all heard all the scuttlebutt and the news over the grapevine that we are phasing out all of the road shows. He said, but now here, I've got some brochure inside there that we can use. It is the names and the locations of some nightclubs. He said, now I've got some friends in there to represent you. All you have to do is make appearance there.
Well, he set you up.
Yep. So,
That's a real
so the guys and gals, they began branching out and spreading out, you know, and I think he sold all of his equipment and stuff
And he got out.
and got out of the business.
Nightclubs, there they come. Yeah.
So the nightclub scene was wide open for all types of acts, like contortionists, snake dancers, shake dancers, tap artistry. Well, at that time, the Terpsichorean field was wide open. That's tap dancing.
Yeah, right.
Well, and some of the beautifulest men in the world that ever shook a leg, to name a few, Baby Lawrence, ranging from, let me get the first man, Bill Bojangles Robinson.
Yeah, all right. What a star. Yeah, that was motion picture star.
Yeah, yeah, he was under the tutorage of Shirley Temple.
And,
He had her. But now he was doing casuals all across the country. All right, the man following him was Pearl Bailey's brother, Bill Bailey.
Bill Bailey. Yeah.
In whom the tune was written for.
Where did Buck and Bubbles come in there?
Buck and Bubbles is already out there. They just had to come off the road the same as me. Off one of those road shows. They was with James E. Strait's shows out of Pennsylvania.
What
See,
big
because
star.
Buck played piano. No, Bubbles played piano and Buck danced. And they both sang.
Well, you know, Mickey, we got a gig Tuesday. You and me are going to do this gig.
Oh, wow.
And it's the anniversary, the 25th anniversary. It's called the 25th Anniversary Alumni
Okay.
Party of the World's Fair.
All right.
And we're going to get Dr. Upright to video us over there. And then we're going to do a birthday party. I
All
understand you're going to be out at the club.
Yeah, I'm going to be working that
You're
night.
going to be working, so I'm going to come out and see
That's the
you.
24th and 25th.
Yeah.
That'll be next weekend,
Yeah.
Friday and Saturday.
And the name of that club is
The Mulatto,
the Mulatto. I see.
6901 Martin Luther King Way South, or Empire Way South, as you would know it.
Yeah.
Empire Way South. It used to be the old Southern Comfort
Oh,
Lounge.
I remember that.
Well, that's just
Yeah.
the same building.
Southern Comfort. Okay.
The same building.
Well,
Only-
you brought the strum
Oh, strum
guitar.
box?
Yeah.
Brought that thing along. I don't know why. I just brought it. Well, that will let you request
Well,
one way.
yeah, let's see if we can get the audience to be totally
Well, now, see now.
happy with this show, so we'll do a little guitar playing.
Well, these are some tunes that this generation has never heard of, although they were recorded back in the 20s and 30s by some awfully big, beautiful name bands like Jimmy Lunsford, like Buddy Johnson, Cootie Williams. One such band, Mr. Earl Hines. He had a man singing with him called Johnny Hartman, who recorded this tune. Where shall I go when I go, where I go, since you have sent me away? What will I do when I do the things I do? You constantly haunt me all the day. Where will I find what I found when I first met you? You were so unkind, and I simply can't forget you. Where shall I go when I go, where I go, since you have sent me away?
Fantastic. What's the name of that song?
Song of the Wanderer.
Song of the Wanderer.
And it was written by some member in Earl Hines' big band at that time, in which case Billy Eckstein was playing valve trombone, first chair.
Oh, Bill, yeah, I see.
First chair in Earl Hines' big band. He hadn't begun to get out on his own at that time, because he was singing with the Earl Hines band, and also he was the first trombonist with the Earl Hines brass section.
Oh, yeah.
He played valve trombone, Mr. Billy Eckstein.
Oh, he's big stuff.
I know because I worked with him in Chicago at the old Club de Lisa. Not the old Club de Lisa, but the Grand Terrace.
Grand Terrace.
Grand Terrace.
Oh, that guitar is sweet. You got some other thing you can do for the audience?
Well, yeah, well, we can run a couple more down there.
Yeah.
Hey. Here's a little novelty tune. Ooh, look there, ain't she pretty? She girl and a beauty. Look at the hair, look at the nose, look at the teeth, and I dig that pose. Ooh, look at there.